4's Company, Saturday morning, 1025, 1063. The Game, broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We are brought to you by LPL Financial Nashville and Patrick Conger, financial planning for tomorrow so that you can enjoy today. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, Jake Wallman with you on this Saturday morning. Guys, how are we? How was the show last week? I'm sorry that I was not able to be here. I was calling 24 hours of track in 2 days.
It's not okay. It is not okay.
Is it not? You good? Okay. Can I hear myself? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Last week was pretty chill. It was not too bad. Connor and I, we kind of just went back and forth for the most part, right? All the good stuff, all the fun stuff.
I love it.
I did mention Timber Sports, I think once or twice, but darts is back again. I don't know.
Really?
Darts are back.
How is Luke Littler doing?
He struggled yesterday, but he got through it. I think he took on the Belgian international. But besides that, he's going up against Michael Van Gerwen today. It's a rematch of the PDC World Final.
Right.
So that'll be interesting. Rugby World Sevens is back as well. So check out that. I know people love that. You go watch that on that Rugby TV or whatever you call it. But watch a little bit of that this morning.
Is that an actual station, Rugby TV, or like a streaming service?
Yep. It's free.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, idiot. How'd you not know that?
That's my fault, I guess.
Come on.
Sadly, I have to dip out on you guys early today.
It's not okay.
I will be leaving around 9:45. Got to catch a bus to Alabama. But glad that I could be back, and I'll be back for a full show next week. So should be fun. Let's get to headlines here. Connor Newt, why don't you lead us off?
Okay, before I get into my headline, I have to preface this because this has been on my mind for all week because it's affected this community and us as people and everyone in the Nashville area. If you obviously don't know, there's a school shooting that happened earlier this week over at Antioch High School. I believe 2 were killed, 1 being the shooter. I'm having a hard time getting it out right now because it's just tragic, and I'm tired of dealing with this. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm sure you guys are as well, but I just wanted to say our thoughts and prayers are with the families affected. To the officers and first responders that were involved, thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for protecting this community and our children and our parents and everyone we know. And from the mental standpoint, if you are unwell, if you need to talk, if you don't feel like yourself, if you are feeling like nothing matters, you don't matter, you do. Let me tell you. Joe preaches about this ad nauseum, and now I'm going to do it. Please, please, please reach out to someone. I've been there. I know how rock bottom feels. But you can get out of it. If I didn't go through rock bottom, I wouldn't be sitting here today telling you how rock bottom feels because you got to power through it. There is a power that works for you. His name is Jesus Christ. I don't like to get into the politics of all that, but it's true. So please, if you want to talk, we are always here. You can always call us. You can always call 988 on your cell phone. We want to hear. If this helps one person, it's absolutely worth it. That's not my headline. I just wanted to say that.
No, definitely important to put out there, and obviously it's terrible when this happens anywhere, but obviously it hits a lot closer to home when it's in your community. So thoughts and prayers out to the community of Antioch after the terrible events there this week.
Yeah. My headline: John Calipari won himself a game, gentlemen. He said, don't let him get one. He got one. Watch out, SEC. It's happening. After the game, they interviewed him in his post-game interview, and he said, basically, they were acting like they won the national championship. He said, I cannot wait to write a book about the experiences we've been through this season. And I was like, you won one game at home against Georgia, who has been struggling of late. So don't let them get one, though. They're on the rise.
One, it's what it takes to start a winning streak.
Yes,
Here come the Razorbacks. Who do they have today?
They have,
Oklahoma.
The Sooners. They may win that.
Sooners are they're like a bubble team. kind of.
I'm okay with them winning as much as possible before February 1st because I want them coming in and I want them feeling good and I want to crush their dreams.
You don't want it to be like, oh well,
I'm
we're
glad
injured,
they got the
we're not
monkey
playing
off the bat.
well. Yeah, Kentucky, that'll be a fun one. Is that so? That's a week from today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
February's coming up quick.
I will be. I misplaced my actual headline. That was a headline, but guess where I'm going Tuesday, gentlemen?
Where's that?
The Evil Empire, the land of the dead, the land of the evil orange people. I'm fully prepared to be doused in beer. It's gonna be fun.
It's I mean, heading into enemy territory.
I've never been, so
it's a cool arena. We don't get to go there this year, sadly. Only played Tennessee once, which brings me to my headline. What a weekend for the Vanderbilt Commodores last week. That was I didn't get to watch much of the men's game, but obviously saw the ending and, Chaz Linier misses the free throw that would have tied the game. Ball gets tipped out. Vanderbilt wins by 1. But man, the women's game on Sunday was a blast.
What a fun weekend.
I know.
For Vanderbilt.
I mean, Vandy winning back-to-back games against your arch rival by 1 point is you couldn't write a storybook like that. My headline is more Michaela Blakes, who hit the game winner for Vandy. Did you see the story that her brother plays at Stanford? He hit the game winner for Stanford less than 24 hours earlier against North Carolina.
That's crazy.
So within a 24-hour period, Jalen Blakes and Michaela Blakes both hit game winners at the buzzer, and their dad was at both games.
Am I correct in saying she got National Freshman of the Year or of the Week honors?
She did. She got National Freshman of the Week honors, but not SEC Freshman of the Week honors.
Interesting.
Which is strange.
It's like college football. You get the National Player of the Week.
Yeah, this is a couple of times we've seen strange decisions on SEC Freshman of the Week. Michaela broke the freshman scoring record at Vandy against Georgia a couple weeks ago, which had been held for 40 years, and she did not win SEC Freshman of the Week. That's all I'll say on that. But it was a blast in there. Vandy had it, but just like the men's game, had it in control early fourth quarter, felt like they were going to win the game. Tennessee made their run. Lady Vols were up 5 with 2 minutes left, and Vandy made the plays down the stretch to get a big win. Came back Thursday, beat Arkansas by 41. So we're heading down to Alabama. Big one tomorrow. 1 o'clock on 94.9 The Fan. Nick Frazier, was your headline the darts and the rugby, or do you have
one? I have something else.
There you go. Yep. Go ahead, Dr. Crane.
I'm intrigued with the new golf format that's come out on ESPN with the TGL.
The TGL, yeah.
Tiger Woods is, I guess that's his league, I assume.
Is this the indoor thing?
Yeah, him and Rory came up with it.
Yeah, I think they face off against each other Tuesday.
Really?
Yes.
Robbie and I have been watching that here. I don't know anything about it, but he's like, look at that, Connor Newt. Look at the indoor golfing.
It's pretty interesting. Like, I looked behind the scenes, like they had like a behind the scenes video of how the course is constructed. And when you hit it onto the tee, it's like an actual platform of real like sodded grass.
Right.
And actual,
they have the rough and the fairway. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. So, I mean, if this is the new era of golf, and for me, I was telling this to, I think, somebody this past week, this is the new era for Tiger Woods, in my opinion. Like, if he's going to have his career a little bit more like the longevity aspect of it, this is it.
It's a lot of fun to watch. I didn't watch this week, but I watched the first 2 weeks, and they were both blowouts, which was like, that's the only thing that didn't really keep me involved. But seeing the personalities of these guys, and they're all mic'd up, and they have like the hammer that they can throw to double the points. Like, I think it's a fun way to, instead of having to watch a 4-day tournament of golf, you can watch golf in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Which
Frazier,
is great.
I thought of you the other day.
Did you?
Because I was watching the Australian Open here during the Preds game.
Really?
I want to know, what do you think of Novak Djokovic just retiring mid-match?
I think that term for retiring, I think it was just retire the match, not actually retire. I could be wrong. I have to go double check that. But I think it was noble of him to do so. He's given a lot to the
that was
sport.
Weird phrasing. Like, retires from
that's a tennis term, which I guess is weird. My friend said the same thing. We were on FaceTime, and he goes, Novak Djokovic retired. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense, but it's a tennis term. He's given a lot to the sport, but you got to remember too, the guy, he played a lot of different tournaments in years past where or months past, I guess, he played injured. And this one was just something you can't overtake. It was like a quad injury or something.
Yeah.
It looks like he had everything all wrapped up. And you could tell, like, on his serves, he was easily, hopefully, getting the ace. Like, he was definitely playing in one solidified spot. He wasn't lateral movement, because there were times where the German player, Alex, I can't pronounce his last name, it starts with a Z, but he would always kind of expand the play a little bit more wide than actual narrow. And that's the issue with Djokovic with his injury. But I didn't like the fans booing him. That's just me.
That's petty.
Yeah.
There was some comments made by local Australian media as well on the call. I think that was said afterwards in the press conference. And so those apologies were made and so forth. But that's just something I didn't appreciate. But he's given a lot to the sport. I mean, good for him. Hopefully this is not the last, because he has some accolades he's trying to achieve this year, upcoming year.
That's what I'm going to tell my kids about Antonio Brown.
There you go.
He retired from the game.
Yes. Mid-game.
And
Mid-game.
one more. Ichiro Suzuki did
Yeah.
not get a unanimous vote.
I wonder if
which-
it was the same guy with Jeter.
It's
It has
one
Has to
guy
be,
every
right?
year.
Like, it's the same guy with Jeter who says that no one should be unanimous.
Yeah.
And I mean, Mariano Rivera is the only unanimous Hall of
Yeah.
Famer.
It sickens me, because how can you not like Ichiro?
No, it's crazy.
I caught the tail end of Ichiro growing up.
Yeah.
And he was still just as electric as ever.
I mean, he's
I think this guy has it out for the Seattle Mariners. I think that's what it is.
it's possible.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Put
I
a
mean,
uniform
yeah.
on Ichiro now, he still could play 100%. I mean, he's got a stroke of beauty when it comes to hitting the ball. And
He does.
It's incredible.
Yep, one of the best. Jake Wallman, wrap us up. Headline, and you also are in charge of our question of the day today.
I am. So I'll give my headline first. Have you guys heard about the 11-year-old in California with the Paul Skeens card?
we were
Yep.
just talking about that.
talking about that.
Okay. All right. I missed that. I must have been mad.
Before
Off air.
Oh,
we went on
okay.
air.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Off
That's
air.
my headline. The Pirates, if you've not heard about this, I can't quite place how he came in contact with the card.
He pulled it.
Oh yeah, he pulled it. His parents gave him one of those like books that, Topps cards come in, and it, the book had the Paul Skeens 1-of-1 card in the case, and the Pirates have tried to get in contact with the kid, and they want the card. They ended up offering him 30 years worth of season tickets right behind home plate. And he lives in California, so I don't know how often he would be making games.
Right.
A softball game at PNC Park for 30 people, 2 autographed Skeens jerseys, and a one-of-a-kind spring training experience at Pirate City in Bradenton, Florida. And he would get to watch a game in Livy Dunn's press box or
Sold.
suite box.
I was just saying before we went on air, if he was like 5 years older, I think he would have taken that deal.
Yeah.
I'd take it. She'd be mine by the 7th inning stretch.
Sorry, Paul.
Wow.
Connor
Paul-
Newt's the guy that they tell you not to worry about.
Yeah.
Paul getting pulled with runners on first and second, 2 outs in the 7th. Man, I would stay out there.
I mean, personally, I could handle the mound. Your boyfriend clearly can't. So
Jake Wallman, what is our question
So
today?
my question of the day is in honor of Connor Newt going to Knoxville on Tuesday to watch my Vols take on his Wildcats. And I was curious. I was thinking about this yesterday. If you're going into an opposing team's arena, what kind of fan are you? Are you the type of fan that, you just kind of sit and you cheer, but you don't really make yourself known? Or you kind of run that mouth, you kind of egg on the opposing team's fan base and kind of stir the pot a little bit?
what do I look like to you?
You are definitely the latter.
Yeah, if you're not watching on stream, Connor has all Kentucky blue on right now.
Well, I mean, they're playing another team locally today.
That
and
is
This
true.
is my minor stick it to you.
615-737-1025 if you want to answer our question of the day. What kind of fan are you in an opposing team's environment? We will get to our answers later. You can answer on our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll get to our phone lines coming up next as we talk Titans. Titans got to meet with Shedeur Sanders yesterday, and there's been some rumors about what Tennessee might do with the number 1 pick now that Mike Borgonzi has taken over at general manager. That's up next here on 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Back on 4's company, Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, Jake Wallman with you on this Saturday morning. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. Going to get into some Titans here. Titans have the number 1 pick in the draft. Are we exactly 3 months away from draft night? I think we are.
It's going to be a
April
long
24th,
3
so
months.
we got a long way to go. Going to be lying season from here on out. No one knows what the Titans want to do. There's been a lot of rumblings about what Mike Borgonzi might want now that he is the general manager of the Tennessee Titans. We're going to talk about that, but let's start by going to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Josh is on the line wanting to talk about what the Titans might do with the first overall pick. Josh, go ahead.
Jake, hey, long-time listener, first-time caller. Great to be on the line here. Pleasure to be on. You know, it sounds like you were saying, referencing to, going to be a long 3 months. Buckle in, boys. A lot of changes coming. I gotta know. There's a lot of talk. Shador, Cam Ward. Who are we taking? But here's the question: do we buy into the belief of Trevor Lawrence, trading for him and punting back in the draft? Are either of these guys legit? As a follow-up, Mike Vrabel, big physical specimen. That's why we got rid of him here in Tennessee. Are we afraid that he has found the key to winning a Super Bowl in New England? Thanks, Jake. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, Josh. Go Bills.
The rest of us are here. Too,
yes,
by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
that is my friend Josh on the line. Great questions from Josh. Mike Vrabel, does he have the secret to a Super Bowl in New England? I don't know. But his first question about Trevor Lawrence was actually something I wanted to get to. Dan Orlovsky earlier this week said that the Titans, instead of using the first pick on a quarterback, should just trade for an established guy in Trevor Lawrence. Thoughts on that? I have my opinion, but you know, if you don't think Cam Ward or Shador Sanders is a franchise quarterback, and the Jaguars may be looking for a change of scenery for Trevor Lawrence, which I don't know if they are, maybe that's a route the Titans explore.
Do you want that contract?
No,
because I don't. That's a lot of money for a guy that's not worth that much money, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Talent-wise, I don't think he's. I'm good.
I think Doug Peterson ruined him.
I do too.
I think that's the best way to describe it. Is Peterson ruined Lawrence and that system that he was in. I mean, some people may say he might be like a resurrection project in some regard, but my ship has sailed on Trevor.
My first thought when this was brought up is, why would if the Jaguars were going to move off Trevor Lawrence, why would they flip him to a division rival?
It won't happen. I don't understand why Dan Orlovsky brought this up, but
I think he was asked by somebody else.
I guess
right.
It was on First Take. I didn't actually see the full clip with the context, but I just don't understand
that. I mean, it makes no sense.
It makes no sense for either team.
Yeah.
The Titans right now are trying, like they've been talking about draft and develop. They want to be a draft and develop team. You don't become a draft and develop team by trading for a $50 million a year quarterback who already hasn't really proven much.
Yeah. From a division rival.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. That's the part that gets me. I'm
the Jaguars, let's trade away our quarterback who is supposed to be a generational talent and give him to our arch rival. Great idea.
It doesn't make sense.
Like, if this were to theoretically happen, like, think of it this way. You trade back with Jacksonville. Because, like, that's the thing. If you're going to trade your number 1 overall pick, you at least get their 5th in Trevor Lawrence, right?
Yeah.
So then maybe add a 3rd with that. Obviously, that's been the big synopsis for the Titans. You need that 3rd round draft pick. You get that, maybe a 2nd the following year.
Yeah, because you'd have to take the contract. I don't even know what that trade would look like.
I would make them, if this was going to happen, I'd say you guys are retaining some of that contract because we are not taking all of that on.
If they don't, that means
that you're going to get more picks.
Yeah, I mean, more picks would be in your right. category of coming in.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
And the Jaguars wouldn't do it. The Jaguars, I think, are pretty committed to Trevor Lawrence as he's kind of the one stable piece of their franchise right now. I mean, how about the Jaguars firing their GM because he couldn't attract any head coach? No one wanted to work with him.
Well, didn't they have like a Zoom meeting and their owner basically said, yeah, I'm willing to fire him with him in the meeting?
I mean, it's the Jaguars are a dumpster fire, and they have been for a long time. Titans aren't doing great, but they're not the Jaguars. But the one thing the Jaguars do have is they think they have their franchise quarterback. They're not trading him away. And I think the Titans, with the number 1 pick, you can find more value by trading back if you don't like one of the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
There's going to be somebody who falls in love with Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders and makes that trade if you don't like them. So I think the Titans, I'll say it like I've said it for the last month and a half. If you have the number 1 pick, you take a quarterback or you trade back. I think those are the only options.
Yep.
And I think it's a smokescreen from Borgonzi saying, or was it Brinker? Whoever said we won't pass on a generational talent with the first overall pick. I think it's a smokescreen because obviously you're not going to pass on a generational talent, but they're trying to get teams. Oh, maybe they're going to take Travis Hunter. We want Travis Hunter. They want to drive up the price for that pick as much as possible.
Oh, 100%. And like generational talent, the top 5 guys are generational talents, just depending on their situation they go into. Like,
I don't think any of them are generational this year.
Travis Hunter's not generational talent.
Mm-mm.
Abdul Carr's not generational talent.
I think Abdul Carter's the closest thing to generational, but I don't think he's generational.
I think Travis Hunter's the only generational
Travis
talent.
Hunter, I can't get into
That's
him
fair.
being generational because his main selling point is he's going to play both sides, but he's not going to do that in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to play a higher percentage on one side of the ball.
He'll
for
play.
sure.
I tend to lean he'll play more corner than wide receiver. He may have a package or two on offense, but
yeah.
I don't know. Abdul Carter, I think, is on the brink of quote generational, but I don't know. I think that term is thrown out way too loosely.
Generational is supposed to be once in a generation. So you can't have generational players every single year. The closest thing to generational is Travis Hunter in this class because he is very different from anything we've seen before, at least in the last 20, 30 years. Neither of these quarterbacks are generational. As much as Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders want to, stoke the fire and say, are you generational or am I generational? I'm legendary. Neither of them are generational, but they might be worth the number 1 pick. And that's up to the Titans brass to decide. They got to meet with Shedeur yesterday.
They did. They sure did. And
Got to FaceTime with Dion.
I bet Dion was happy about that. He's like, my
Apparently ownership wasn't. And then TD said, yeah, they were fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why they wouldn't be fine with it.
It was some dude that quote tweeted it had like 17 followers.
Yeah,
I was like, come on, man. Like,
how unprofessional of him to FaceTime his father during a meeting. Well, his father isn't John Smith. His father is Deion Sanders. So
speaking of John Smith, you're right about Shedeur Sanders. Like, if his name was John Smith, he's not a top.
I don't think he's the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
As much as I liked Shedeur more heading into it, the more I see of Cam Ward, the more I think it's going to be him. He's just got some of the throws he makes are ridiculous. And I know I don't want to fall in love with the arm talent like Will Levis, but there's more there from Cam Ward than what we saw from Will Levis.
The thing with Cam Ward, if you draft Cam Ward, you have to commit to him and Brian Callahan for the next few years.
Yeah. And that is a big part of it too, is if you're drafting a quarterback, you've got to be pretty sure that Brian Callahan is the guy who can develop him. That's going to be huge for the Titans moving forward. And Mike Borgonzi did say on his appearance on DVD this week, he said that they're going to have patience with the quarterback and the coach. So that is something that we'll have to look at if the Titans do indeed take a quarterback at number 1 overall. Again, we're 3 months away.
I about to say, but patience can run dry.
No, and it can. If they go 2-15 next year, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of patience.
No.
But who knows? Rookie quarterbacks don't always jump in there and do what Jaden Daniels has done.
I just see it on the wall, guys.
Speaking of
Blank
patience,
2.0. I just see it on the wall. Wizen Hunt 2.0.
if you start 1-4 or 1-5 and you take like a Cam Ward, do you kind of make that move and just kind of throw him out there and say, let's see what you got?
I don't know.
It depends on who your bridge guy is.
Yeah.
If the Titans are going to trade this pick, it's going to come early. They're going to trade it before free agency, probably.
They're not trading on draft day.
No. The number 1 pick never gets traded on draft day. Except for in draft day.
And Madden.
I give it.
The draft day is and even that it happened the morning of.
Yeah.
But
Kevin Costner, man, he had a tough time with that.
What a great movie.
What a horrible, great movie. I can't wait to watch it. 3 months from today, I will be. I watch draft day every draft day.
It's
Really?
so bad.
Oh yeah, it's
so
it's a
bad.
tradition for me is to watch that movie. It is horrible, but it's so entertaining.
Okay.
Vontae Mack, no matter what.
Vontae Mack, baby.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll continue the conversation about the Titans on the other side. Tune into 1025 and 1063 The Game today for Vanderbilt men's basketball. The Commodores take on Kentucky at Memorial Gym with a 1:30 p.m. tip-off. The pregame show starts at 1. Coverage is also available on the 1025 The Game app and at thegamenashville.com. Vanderbilt men's basketball presented by Athletes Unlimited Pro Basketball coming to Nashville's Municipal Auditorium February 5th through March 2nd. Go to auprobasketball.com for more details and to purchase tickets. We'll take a quick break. Be right back here with more 4's Company on 1025 and 1063 The Game. Tune in to 93.3 FM Totally Hits Nashville tonight for MTSU men's basketball. The Blue Raiders take on Louisiana Tech. Tip-off at 5:30. Pregame begins at 5. Coverage also available on the Totally Hits Nashville app and at totallyhitsnashville.com. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Connor Newt, Jake Wallman with you here on 4's Company. I will be departing after this segment, but we got about 10 more minutes here
Play
to
taps.
talk some Titans. I know it's going to be so sad without me.
Yeah.
I'll be listening, though, on my way over to Vandy.
We're going to sing 3 Doors Down while you're gone. Here without you, baby.
I love that. I love me some 3 Doors Down.
You're going to have to give us your question of the day on the way out the
yes.
door.
Let me do that now
Your
before we
answer.
get back into Titans. I think I'm more of a just sit there and quietly cheer when I'm in an opposing building. But it depends on which building I'm in.
Okay.
Or what you've got in your system.
It depends on how much danger I feel like I would be in if I start cheering.
Are you a shirt on or shirt off guy?
Definitely shirt off. Definitely shirt off. What's out the window,
I just
Frazier?
thought somebody was out there in the parking lot.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think of. So I went to the Titans Commanders game 2 years ago, where the Titans picked off Carson Wentz at the goal line to win it. And I was getting berated by Commanders fans when they got down inside the 5. I think Trey Avery got called for pass interference in the end zone or something. And I wasn't giving it back to him. And as soon as David Long picked that off, I just got out. Like, I'm not somebody who's going to be fighting in the stands. But if I feel comfortable and I'm not in a dangerous situation, I'll cheer. Like, I'll be loud.
I could see you being loud at given the talk of how fans are like UVA.
Oh yeah.
I could see you definitely being loud there.
I've let some fans have it
There you
at
go.
Tech games for
Yeah.
sure.
Was your shirt on or off?
My shirt has never been off inside a sporting arena.
He was thinking maybe you're like one of those people that paint up, you know?
Yeah,
that's
that's
what I'm talking
true.
about. That's definitely what I'm saying.
Stu, Virginia,
Yeah.
that commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably my answer. I'm not getting taken out of an opposing stadium by security or anything like that.
Yet.
It's different at home games. At Virginia Tech games, I will be like inside lane or inside castle. I'll be one of the louder fans out there. But on the road, I like to, not get beat up.
Contemporary.
I almost went to the Titans-Ravens divisional game a couple years ago.
Really?
I was a little worried I might, not come back because in a playoff game, I probably would have been.
What are you assuming about residents of Baltimore? Huh?
I'm just saying, like, Baltimore being surrounded by Baltimore fans in a playoff game and the way the Titans won that game, I probably would have been obnoxious. Yeah. So, good decision to watch that game from home. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to chime in on your personality, I guess I would say.
Personality.
How you act in opposing stadiums when your team is playing.
It's on the inside that counts.
Quickly on the Titans before I get out of here. We were kind of talking about what the best way to go about this is for the Titans. And Frazier, I think you made a good point that you do have to think about this long term. And the way that the Titans built up those teams from 2017 through 2021 was built mostly on that trade back from one in 2016. Like, that is what jump-started the Titans back to being a contender. I do think long-term that's probably the best play for the Titans, but they also have been talking a lot about you have to solidify the quarterback position. I'm not sure that there's a guy out there outside of the draft that you feel like is going to solidify the quarterback position.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but I just, what you mentioned last segment about, Borgonzi saying they're going to have patience with Callahan. Like, if you're going to have patience, go after the right quarterback. If it's not in this year's draft, or hell, if it's even, a bridge quarterback. And like I was telling you guys off air, like maybe a guy like a Kirk Cousins or somebody on the text line was saying Aaron Rodgers, like, yeah, go after some of those type of guys because they don't have much left in the tank and they'll get you what you need with Brian Callahan. You'll see the progression in the type of system that he has. And so maybe that's the way to go. But if you trade back with a team in the top 3 that could potentially be drafting next year in the top 5 again, I think that's where you go with that because you'll be able to pick up a 3rd rounder and you'll be able to pick up other draft capital from that one team.
That's why I said a couple weeks ago, trade with the Giants.
Bingo.
Get Drew Lock.
Oh,
Drew Lock.
I don't know.
I'm not excited by Drew Lock either, but that's a bridge guy. I don't want to make a giant financial investment in an Aaron Rodgers or a Kirk Cousins to come in and play quarterback for maybe half a year. That's how I think. And don't give me the whole, well, they're locker room leaders because Aaron Rodgers is not a locker room leader, but
his teammates all like him for the most part. I don't think there's any,
except for the one that said, like, if Aaron Rodgers is quarterback, I'm not going to be here next year.
Yeah.
Well,
most of his teammates like him.
Most of them. Because he brought him with him.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if Rodgers is the answer, but I think you could go veteran. I wouldn't get Drew Lock.
Yeah.
On draft night in 2019, I was prepared to jump in the Cumberland with
Drew Lock just
concrete
saved your
shoes
franchise,
on. If Drew Lock was the draft pick at 19, because there were rumors the Titans loved Drew Lock in 2019 and were going to take him. That would have been the worst pick possible. And he slipped to the 2nd round. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Let's go back to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Trey wants to jump in. Trey, what you got?
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Good.
Hey, I just wanted to say that if the Titans sell the draft pick, they will have more opportunity to fill the holes that they have in their system. And I don't think that if they draft a number 1 quarterback, that he would be able to go in and be able to produce as much as Will Levis would do. I believe that the only way Will doesn't start this year coming up is if they get a veteran. Other than that, I believe Will Levis probably will be starting next year. And that's only because Will Levis and the new GM are from basically the same area in Boston. I don't think he's going to give up on Will Levis without seeing what Will Levis will be able to do. And that's just my belief, guys. And y'all have a good day. Thank you, and happy Saturday morning.
Thank you for the call, Trey. That
Yo, my hat. I mean, wow.
Will Levis, here's my thought on Will Levis. Liam Cohen just took the job with the Jaguars, and I know you're going to talk about this in a second, Newt. Would not shock me if Will Levis is on the Jaguars by draft night.
That was my thought process too.
I think Liam Cohen, Trevor Lawrence is great, and not great. He is a starting quarterback in this league, but Mac Jones is probably leaving. You need a backup. Liam Cohen obviously coached Will Levis at Kentucky. I think he would be willing to ship off 6th-round pick to get Will Levis.
What I didn't understand that he said, he was like, you need to keep Will Levis and bring in a veteran and draft a QB. I was like, you can't do all three.
Well, he said that he doesn't. He said he thinks they should trade back, which I'm fine with trading back, but Will Levis cannot be your week 1 starter this year.
No, that ship has sailed.
He can be on the roster if you don't want to trade him, or if no one wants to trade for him. There's no harm in keeping him on the roster, but he cannot go into training camp as your top quarterback.
No, if it's that point, just get rid of him. I'm sorry. I know it sounds.
Or if you're that committed to him, don't even go to the quarterback market.
Yeah. I'm sure that the Titans are going to listen on Will Levis. They're not committed to him, but maybe no one wants him. You don't have to cut him before training camp. Let him come in for training camp, and then if you don't want to carry 3 quarterbacks, you can cut him.
Right.
But I think there's no way Will Levis can go in. Not only as your starter, I don't think you can go into training camp with Will Levis as your solidified backup either.
Yeah, you're 100% right. With the decisions he made last year of flicking the ball toward, you can't have none of that on your roster. To me, that's bad culture.
Which is crazy because remember, with a month to go in the season, we were saying, man, there's really no way Will Levis isn't going to be the starting quarterback next year.
Yeah, he was on a hot streak.
And then the Bengals game happened. Yep. Yes, that Bengals game will forever go down as the moment Will Levis lost his job.
Bengals just expose Titans quarterbacks, don't they?
They do.
This happened twice.
615-737-1025. Quickly, one more call. Let's go back to our phone lines. Eric wants to talk about possibly trading for Trevor Lawrence. Eric, go ahead.
No, well, I was going to say this. I didn't know if you guys had heard this, but Dan Orlovsky was talking about this a few days ago on ESPN. He was talking about the Titans. We ought to try and trade for Trevor Lawrence because you're talking about Will Levis going to Jacksonville. I personally don't see it because I don't think we would do that within the division, but also it's our situation offensive line. And would the Titans be willing to take on that type of a contract? I'm like a lot of other people. I believe we should try and trade the pick and get as much haul as we can, but it's just going to be interesting to see what happens because you've heard so many wild rumors. Just wanted to see what your guys' reaction to us to that. Did you hear about that? Guys, I'll get off and let you get some other callers. Y'all take care, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you for the call, Eric. Yeah, we touched on this that, I think Trevor Lawrence, they're not going to trade him in the division.
No.
Which I get Dan Orlovsky, part of First Take is just, put something out there and hope that it goes viral. And obviously that caught some attention, but there's just no way the Jaguars are trading their starting quarterback to a division rival. I could see the Titans trading Will Levis to a division rival because, again, that's kind of because
he's not a starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's just a dump at that point with Liam Cohen maybe wanting to take a chance on a guy with a lot of arm talent that he's obviously had some success with in the past. So I think that trade is possible. The Trevor Lawrence one is not. Guys, it's been fun.
Not real fun.
I hate that I have to run, but I will be back next week, all show, for the first time in a while.
Yay!
So, first time since 2 weeks before Christmas.
No, I was on in studio the first week after New Year's. So the 4th I was here, but then the 11th we were snowed in, so we did that one virtually. And then obviously I wasn't here last week, but next week back in studio. All of us will be in studio, right? Connor, you're here next Saturday.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Cool.
here.
Looking forward to it. Enjoy the rest of the show. I'll be listening. And have a great weekend, guys.
No,
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll make some pancakes.
I hope
in
you have a
your
great
honor.
call. And if you see Sydney Thomas, please say a hello to her.
I will.
for me.
I will
From
let
Connor
her know.
Newt.
Connor Newt sends his regards.
The man she knows well.
She'll know. She'll know what I'm talking about.
I'm heading out. 615-737-1025. The show continues next with Newt's Notes at 9:45 on a Saturday. 4's Company 1025 1063 The Game.
Yeah. All right. Welcome back. 4's Company. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier. Jake Lyman has left us so rudely. Jake Wallman playing my theme music. But now it's time for Newt's Notes. I don't think I've ever introed my own segment, but here we are.
Talk to us.
I'll talk to you. Okay. So he kind of mentioned it last segment, Jake Lyman did, but Liam Cohen has taken the job in Jacksonville to be the head coach. Kind of a weird situation. It was reported that Cohen wanted to return to Tampa Bay, take a massive extension to be the highest paid coordinator in the NFL. And they won't say this, but from the looks of it, he wanted the Tampa Bay job when Todd Bowles retired. I think, or left and went somewhere else. I think that's where it was going. Instead, Cohen decides, you know what? I'm going to negotiate with the Jaguars, even though I just told him no. Negotiates, takes the job, and is now the next coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I will not tell you I am surprised because I have been seeing this for years and years and years. Cohen, of course, was an offensive coordinator at Kentucky in 21 with Will Levis and Wan'Dale Robinson and that whole bunch that went 10-2 and was later forfeited, but we won't talk about that. And then he came back in 23 and the offense struggled significantly with Devin Leary and Ray Davis and that bunch. As a coach, Liam Cohen has not stayed in the same place for more than 2 years. Started at Brown in 2010 as a quarterbacks coach, went to Rhode Island as a passing game coordinator and quarterback coach, went back to Brown from 2012 and 2013 for 2 years as the quarterback coach, then went to UMass for 2 years as the pass game coordinator and quarterbacks coach, then went to Maine as the OC, came to the Rams for a season as a wide receivers coach, came back to the Rams and got promoted as the assistant quarterbacks coach, went to Kentucky in 21, went back to the Rams for a third time to be the offensive coordinator, came back to Kentucky and went back to Tampa Bay. I'm not surprised because he's been doing this for a while. When he was in Kentucky in 21, it came out, oh, he's coming back. He's going to be here for the long haul because he Stoops' his guy. Then he takes the Rams job and goes back. Then he comes back to Kentucky. I want to be here for the long haul. I love Big Blue Nation. I want to help this program grow. Then leaves for the money. Tampa Bay. Now it's being reported he was going to come back to Tampa Bay when he was going to get his big extension or whatever. Then I guess he hears, oh, Jacksonville will pay me more money in the garbage shoot franchise they are. Might as well take a head coaching job and take that promotion. So what I'm trying to say is Liam Cohen's a freaking snake. Sounds like.
Cut your grass.
Cut your grass.
It sounds like Calipari 2.0 in a little bit.
I mean, Calipari was at least really, really loyal
Right.
to Kentucky. I still am not convinced he wants to be at Arkansas. He would much rather be here. But Liam Cohen is the kind of guy, always has been this way. It's never his fault. It's always someone else's fault. You know, back at Kentucky, especially in the 23 season, if Devin Leary was having a bad day, which was more often than not, it was Devin Leary. He wasn't making the throws we need him to make. And the play calling was always the Todd Downing play call of run, 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 punt, or run, run, pass, punt. We'll only pass on third down, and our quarterback can't hit those throws. So what's the point in even passing? That's why Ray Davis played so well. And credit to Ray Davis, who I hope he gets himself a Super Bowl with the Bills. But
yeah,
curious to see how his tenure in Jacksonville goes.
I don't think it's going to go well.
Well, that's kind of where I was going with this. You know, if he starts out slow, you know, and he's in year 2, you know, like kind of where does his career turn at that point?
I mean, he goes back to being an assistant quarterback coach, or he goes back to being an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to turn down to, because that money's always going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's a viable asset when it comes to being a coordinator.
He's a great offensive mind.
Yeah.
I think he's great. I just think I don't think his head's in the right place. And he's one of those coaches that is not doing it for the love of the game, but the love of the price tag that comes with it.
The love of the pocketbook.
Yeah. He loves that wallet. And I don't know. I don't think he eats, sleeps, and breathes football like he makes himself out to be. I think it's more about, and I understand, I think he has a wife and some kids. I understand you want to provide for your family, and Jacksonville provided you the most resources to do so. But at what cost? I mean, it's not like you have this track record of being this loyalist, you know, offensive guru mastermind that wants to improve a program. You obviously are always looking 10 steps ahead. How can I be better at my job? It's not a we thing. It's a him thing.
Yeah. And I'll say this too about Cohen. If he gets the slightest, I guess, improvement out of Trevor Lawrence this year, or I guess improvement to some regard of going like 5 or 6 wins, they're going to give him another year. He's going to be on a short leash at the beginning, but if they get any success out of Lawrence, like quick out of the gate, Cohen's got another year already under the bag.
My buddy Gunner on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com says, I trust Rick Pitino's word more than I do Liam Cohen. Rick Pitino, of course, if you don't know, was obviously the coach at Kentucky in the 90s, left to go to the NBA and coach the Boston Celtics, I believe, and then came back and went to the one place a Kentucky coach is not allowed to go, Loserville. And now he's like at St. John's, but he's like promoting Kentucky and donating to their NIL fund. And
I don't get that.
I don't understand it either. I mean, I understand that Mark Pope played under Pitino. He was a pivotal piece in winning the national championship in 96. But it was like, you're an active coach at another Division I program. Actually, they're ranked right now, and you're still giving NIL funds and giving your coaching expertise to a program you don't work for. It's just,
Didn't he come back for like football season at Kentucky and
Yeah.
he got like honored or something?
Yeah,
he was
he
on the
did.
sideline, and then he was, when Pope got hired, he was, you know, endorsing. He was at the press conference in Rupp Arena.
I'd love to know like what a St. John's fan kind of thinks about that, just because.
Do St. John's have fans?
I mean, they're probably happy they're
Yeah,
ranked.
I mean,
honestly.
they do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they care. I mean, they're a New York-based team.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. The only teams up north people in the New York area cheer for are the pro teams. So they're all Knicks fans or Nets fans, or probably not many of them Nets fans. But I mean, I'm sure there are some basketball bennies, as John Calipari calls them. But I don't know. There's no comparison between the St. John's fandom and the Big Blue Nation. That's not me being biased. That's just a well-known fact.
It's fact.
That's a
Yeah.
fact. So I don't know how we switched from Liam Cohen to Rick Pitino, but it happened. So
It's basketball.
hey,
It's on the mind.
it's on the mind. We will get into basketball more coming up in the next hour. But up next, Jake Wallman asks, in honor of me going to the evil empire, the land of the forbidden and orange people, what kind of fan are you? Are you the kind of fan, if you go into enemy territory, you're ripping off your shirt and you're yelling at the other fans? Or are you the kind of guy that just sits there, or girl that sits there and, you know, doesn't want to expose themselves too much, is there to cheer for the team, but doesn't want to get into too much drama? That's up next here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Welcome back, 4's Company, hour number 2 here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Connor Newt, joined by Nick Frazier, Jake Wallman, keeping us going behind the glass. 4's Company is brought to you by LPL Financial Nashville and Patrick Conger, financial planning for tomorrow so that you can enjoy today. I teased it before the break, but it's always what we do. Second hour, first segment. Question of the day. Jake Wallman asked, are you the kind of fan, if you're going into an enemy territory, as I am on Tuesday, I will be in Knoxville to watch my Wildcats take on the Tennessee Vols. Are you the kind of fan to egg another fan on in enemy territory? Or are you the kind of guy to just sit there? Or anything else? I'm going back and forth on it. I have some sense of social anxiety. So believe it or not, I'm kind of the guy that just sit there and snap a little bit and clap. But part of me wants to go into Knoxville and just be like, oh, yeah, I'm turning up for you. But I also don't want to be doused in beer on the 3-hour drive home. So I don't know. When I come to Vanderbilt, I unfortunately won't be there this year for reasons. But when I go to Vanderbilt, I'm loud. I'll chirp at them because Vanderbilt fans have this thing where they're not going to like that I said this, but they boo everything. Everything's against them. So I chirp at them a little bit. When I went to the women's game a couple weeks ago, Kentucky and Vanderbilt, some lady yelled behind me. It was a little ticky-tack foul. I'll never forget this. I'll be using this the rest of my life. She said, well, she ain't bleeding. And I was like, this isn't prison ball. So I'll chirp right back at him. I will be using that for the rest of my life. He ain't bleeding. There's no foul. No bleeding.
It's almost like the Alabama Willie guy, or whatever.
Roll Tide Willie.
Roll Tide Willie. Yeah, it's something like that. But you're right, though. I feel like when I'm at a game, this is me, I read the room a little bit. If the fan base is, let's say, for example, I don't know, say if it's a soccer fan base, like those are very passionate fans. I know over at Nashville SC, when I go as like a spectator, if there's somebody on the other team that I know from personal experiences, I'm cheering for that guy, and it's going to be loud and proud. Like,
yeah,
I just something like that. But as for like a football game, yeah, there were times where I go to a Mississippi State game if it was away, and of course you're not allowed to bring your cowbell. I would be that obnoxious fan sometimes, but I don't. Like I said, I read the room. I don't tend to go out of line and take my shirt off and yell at somebody from behind me. There was one time I went to a Georgia Vandy game. This was probably, I was in high school still, so probably like 2015, 2016, and I had a few buddies with me, and we parked at the Wendy's right over there next to the stadium. And we walked in, and you just hear all this barking. And so one of my buddies, after Vandy, it kept it like close to the first quarter. It was like 7-0 Vandy. And right as the whistle blew, my buddy turned around and just started barking at all the Georgia fans.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't know if I would have done that. But it was to the point of like, maybe I'll step it back a little bit. I did go down and get some food. I just didn't want to get heckled.
I'm not afraid to cheer coming into Tuesday because it's in Knoxville.
Right.
We're going to be outnumbered because it's a home game for Tennessee. But Kentucky fans travel. And especially in a game like this, a rivalry game that'll be probably a top 10 matchup. They're going to travel. And you're going to be sitting with them because looking at the ticket prices right now, we got our tickets for $40.
Okay.
The Kentucky fans are going to buy all that out. I'm telling you right now. So I'll probably be a little bit more energetic because I'll be around all the blue people and we'll band together. But I'm not usually the fan to get excited. If I'm at a home game, I'll be at Rupp Arena, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So I'll miss that show. We will do Newt's Notes live from Rupp Arena, though. That's going to be exciting.
I cannot wait.
That's going to be exciting.
Can't wait for Mark Pope to hop on.
Yeah, he's gonna get. Hey, Mark, what are your thoughts on the game today?
What are your thoughts on 4's Company? Here, you're a big fan.
Yeah. Here, you're a big fan, mostly of the guy that sits in the chair on the far left, but those other guys are all right.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm not one to just, especially, it depends on the environment too.
Yes.
If I'm at a football game, absolutely. If I'm at a basketball game, sure, I'll get energetic. Baseball, it's a little harder for me to get, absolutely electric unless it's a monster play because baseball is just a slower paced game. Crowd is a little quiet unless it's a just major Angel Hernandez ump show.
Yeah.
I've never been to golf. I don't know too much about golf. Hockey, of course, I'm screaming the entire time, especially for the Preds.
Thank you. You took the words right out of my mouth. I feel like hockey is just a different environment where you can just yell at the top of your lungs all game.
Yeah.
All game.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's a good thing that the Preds do as well. Like the environment is just throughout the years has been built up to where you can do stuff like that. And like for you being a Kentucky fan, if you like when you go to the Knoxville game, you're going to be able to, I guess, yell at the top of your lungs more than a Mississippi State fan would, because there's more reputation under Big Blue Nation.
It's a rivalry.
Yeah, there's more weight that carries on with the name itself. It's a basketball school. We all know it.
Oh, yeah.
And with basketball schools, there carries more of a fan base that's passionate. I think when you have the underlying tone of being a passionate fan base, then you can do more stuff like that. Whereas for me, being a Mississippi State fan, I feel like being at a football game with cowbells, a home game, I can be obnoxious. I can do all that stuff. Where if I was in an away game, yeah, you got to tone it back a little bit.
Yeah, it is for sure. That's not a sport, obviously, but that's kind of what's funny about being at a WWE event is the crowd is unified.
Yes.
They all share the same opinion. So those chants that you hear that are organic, that just come up, everyone in the building is doing it because it's like this genius plant that the company puts to get you to go. I mean, you can obviously disagree on what wrestlers you like, but a lot of it is like there's no beef. Everyone is there for that's a common misconception. A lot of people are there to, just watch the show.
See the beef.
See the beef. The beefcakes laying down, the smacketh down. I feel bad because this is Jake Wallman's question, and I haven't even gotten to Jake Wallman's answer. So, Jake Wallman, if I were to tell you you're going to Rupp Arena to watch the Vols and the Wildcats, are you taking your shirt off and you just laying it down, or are you sitting there a little quiet and misconstrued?
So in high school, I was definitely the type of guy that would chirp.
I could totally see
Like
that.
I mean, I was, sitting at, high school basketball games. I was chirping guys that would come in and stuff. In college, yeah, I'd kind of run my mouth a little bit too. And then I guess now that I'm a little bit more grown up, you kind of got to read the room, kind of like Fraser said.
Yeah.
If I'm in Knoxville, if I'm in Neyland, if I'm at a Titans game, a Preds game, yeah. I mean, I may read the room a little bit and kind of see, who we're playing and, kind of knowing the fan base and stuff like that. But and this is if my team's at home. If I'm away, I may be a little bit more reserved.
Yeah.
And just, and then if something happens that's a big play, then you kind of, the moment may grab you. So I guess I'm reading the room a little bit.
The thing I experience, and you guys don't experience this anymore, but I'm sure you did back in college. I got to deal with the frat guys that come after me. When I went to Oxford to watch MTSU,
yeah, you told us
and
about
Ole Miss, some frat guy came up to me and said, "Brother, you drove all the way from Murfreesboro to watch your team get pounded." I was like, first off, brother, if you want to call me that, I'm
Brother.
Hulk Hogan.
First off, Hogan. I'm wearing a powder blue polo right now, so I don't know why you're talking to me. Second, this is a buy-in game, and I'm just here to watch your team, not MTSU. I'm here to watch your team because I drove all this way. I paid money. I want to watch an SEC football team play ball. So I'm like, maybe let's get over our insecurities that you have paying for friends and drinking every night. I'm not taking a shot at frat kids.
It's fairly
It's a
accurate.
little one. I personally don't see the point in paying for your friendships, but if you were in a frat, good for you.
Amen.
But I mean, it's going to be bad when I get to Knoxville and they see me in blue and they're going to.
I do actually have a story of the time one time I chirped my mouth in high school.
Oh boy.
We were playing. This was when Eagleville was still single A and private schools were integrated with public schools when it came to like divisions and stuff.
It's getting good already.
And we were playing MTCS, and there was a big rivalry between us and MTCS. And there had been some chirping on social media, and I went up to one of their basketball players after the boys game, and I gave him a quarter and said, "This is what your game's worth," and I just walked off. Yeah, it was yeah.
Lay it down.
Lay it down on him, and I think we actually lost.
Oh, I mean, Frazier and I could tell you, Bishop's Cup runs deep.
Oh,
There's some smack talk that goes there.
Yeah,
So,
Eagleville had some intense rivalries with MTCS was one, Forest Chapel Hill was another one, Cascade when we played them annually was pretty good.
Yeah.
I
So-
was never the kid in high school that was able to play sports. I wasn't athletic enough I could never make the cut.
Right.
So fortunately, I was given the opportunity to be a part of the football team as manager.
Yeah.
So every year we'd play Father Ryan in the Bishop's Cup. I would talk that smack from the sideline.
And the thing is with the Bishop's Cup, like from a player's perspective, the chirping started Sunday night.
Yeah.
It didn't start on Monday.
Oh, it's all week.
It's all week
It's
long.
all week.
And that's the beauty of high school rivalries. And that,
Because you know them and they know you
yeah.
outside
Well,
of school. And
they'll
stuff.
like it's a Catholic community, so
Yeah.
everyone knows each other.
'Cause
But they'll DM you or they'll text you, "Hey,
Yeah.
you're going down, pal." So that's why one time I went undefeated in the Bishop's Cup in high school. I'll just say that.
That's fair. I went 3-4. No
4-0.
big deal.
4-0 throughout high school. So one time they came to us on the hill in Hendersonville. We pounded them. So I did not hesitate to walk out on the field, blow them a little kiss, and wave to their sideline.
Oh, that's very thoughtful of you,
I like
Connor.
that, Connor. Yeah.
Kill him with kindness.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to send them home with what they deserved.
Yeah, no. I to add on to that, my chirping wasn't as kind. I mean, a lot of these kids. So back in the day, all these like parochial schools used to play each other in like a parochial league football. Now it's all conglomerate into like some parochial schools in one region,
Nashville Catholic or whatever it is.
make like an A team and a B team or whatever. But back in the day, schools had their own teams. So I mean, it all kind of started in 7th and 8th grade when you'd have a rivalry with St. Edward or St. Henry, and
Nothing better than St. Edward and St. Henry on an 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning.
It was beautiful. It was like college football at its finest. But like when you have stuff like that, it all bakes into what can happen in high school. Everybody remembers that 3rd and goal that happened 7th grade year, and then you carry that feud into high school football, and that guy now goes to John Paul, and you're like, all right, I'm going after you this play. Like that stuff, it resonates.
It does.
Even when I played JV football against John Paul, like that's how it was. We'd all go back and forth Sunday to Friday or Sunday to Thursday when JV games were. And then once it got to big boys up on Fridays, everybody meant business.
Oh yeah.
And the good thing is it doesn't stick to just one sport either.
Oh no.
And, I mean, you can, even if you just play football, but you're at the basketball games and you're at the baseball games, you can still talk. I mean,
I'll tell you now, I lit up the floor in, parochial league. I was
there you go.
stretch 4. I was like Dirk Nowitzki out there, just stroking it. Anyways, speaking of basketball, big day in the SEC locally. My Cats in town in Nashville over on Broadway taking on the Commodores. And a big one in the SEC. Another local team, the Tennessee Vols, taking on number 1 Auburn. We'll break that down next here on 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Welcome back, 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. And gentlemen, the song is appropriate because Saturday night is always all right for fighting. Or in this case, playing basketball. Kentucky and Vanderbilt play later this afternoon. I believe tip-off is at 2 p.m. You can hear that here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game with Kevin Ingram and Tim Thompson on the call, taking on my Wildcats. You see me sporting a little bit of that today, but
Just a little.
just a little. It's just a hat and
A blue
various
vest.
colors. Anyways, it's a big one for Vanderbilt. Coming off a big win last weekend against Tennessee, where they led the majority of the game, had all the momentum, blew it at the end. Came down to one free throw by Chaz Lanier, misses it, ball game. They knock off number 1 at the time, now number 6. Can they carry that momentum? They play well at home, it seems. Mark Byington has been every bit of the coach they need. Not worried about, dressing nicely, what kind of shoes he's wearing, how expensive his suit is. I believe he shows up in a pullover and some sweats or something.
He knows ball.
He knows ball.
He just wants to play ball.
Wants
That's
to
it.
play ball. And he's got his guys playing ball. And they play well at home. As of recently, Memorial has always been a bit of a challenge for Kentucky. They either come in and blow them out or it comes down to the wire. It depends on, if you ask me, if the Kentucky that shows up is the team that is capable of beating number 2 Duke or Gonzaga or Florida or any of the 6 ranked teams they've played and only lost to 1, slight pat on the back, they're going to run Vanderbilt off the gym. Now, if Kentucky shows up and plays the way they played against Georgia or Clemson or Ohio State, this could come down to the wire. But if you ask me, I don't think Vanderbilt can keep up shot for shot the level of Kentucky's scoring. I think if Jackson Robinson comes in, has a good day, I think if Otega Owe comes in, has a good day inside, I think if Kobe Brea off the bench shows up and is the best shooter in the nation that Jay Billis has deemed him as, I think we have 25, 30 point ball game. But that's not to underestimate what Vanderbilt's capable of. I think they're a good team. I think they're just a product of the deepest conference in basketball. I think the SEC is the most dominant it has ever been. And I think Vanderbilt's a big part of that because Vanderbilt has exceeded expectations. But we're going to have a ball game today, Nick Frazier.
Yeah, you make a good point about, if Kentucky's hitting on all cylinders, it could be a big deficit of a game. I think differently, though. I think Vandy actually has something here. Maybe a guy like Jason Edwards shows up to play today. Something along those lines. Or
I was thinking AJ Hoggard
yeah,
is the X factor.
I don't know. I think that Vandy's going to need a game out of Jason Edwards when they played Tennessee. I think that's going to be the number one factor for me. Sure, didn't have, a lot of rebounds, he had 3 assists, but put up 18 points. When you can get double-digit points out of your perennial guys on your roster, I think that's where you're going to get, your deciding factors. Because if again, I'm going to go back to Kentucky of last week when they played Alabama. Yeah. I asked you about Lamont Butler. What does he need to do to beat Alabama? And what did you say, Connor? He is the engine.
He's the motor.
He's the motor. He's the motor that runs that whole entire team. And if he's not giving assists or getting rebounds or scoring points, obviously that's what a basketball player does.
Yeah.
Then you're not going to get the true production. And I think that it's all about having a bounce back game for Butler. And if he doesn't have a bounce back game, you know it more than I do. But
no, he's the kind of player that doesn't have to be scoring at a high level for that team to be winning.
Right.
He's a defensive guard. He held Mark Sears in check for a great portion of the Alabama game because he's just in your face. Doesn't get called for the ticky-tack fouls most of the time.
He's not bleeding.
He's not. He ain't bleeding. He ain't bleeding. I'll never forget that. But it's just he's he sets the tempo.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt, I think, plays more of a slow, methodical pace of basketball compared to Kentucky. Kentucky will just fast break. We got a 3-on-2. We're kicking it out to the corner, and we're draining a 3 on your face. Vanderbilt, I think, plays similar to the women's team, slow drives, slow, methodical, pick and roll.
And it controls the clock, too.
They do. Kind of like their football team.
Huh.
You ever think about that?
How about that?
You guys were talking about key players, and I said this last week when Tennessee played Vanderbilt. Jalen Carey is a guy that I would love to have on this Tennessee team. Him and Mannion are the
Ezra
two.
Mannion is good.
He feels like he's been at Vanderbilt for 20 years.
Yeah.
But those two guys are the enforcers, I feel like, of that team, where they kind of want to, they can get inside and they can, get those gritty buckets and, just play not dirty, but physical, in your face. And, looking at the, Vanderbilt's game with Tennessee, Carey had 14 points and 10 boards. Looking at his game at Alabama, 2 points or 6 points on 2 for 7 shooting. Not the winning performance that, and again, it is Alabama. That's a really good basketball team. So, credit to them, but just not that winning performance that I think Vanderbilt needed to go on the road and get that win. So, when they go up today against Kentucky, I think that, a big game from him is critical.
It's also worth noting Kentucky doesn't play as well on the road as they do in Rupp.
It's true.
So for Vanderbilt, that means it's a steep mountain, but it's not insurmountable.
Well, and you get them at home.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, you get them in. So Memorial Magic,
bingo,
in play today.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, Connor.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Memorial Magic tends to lead to a lot of whistles, we'll say. Over on the other side, later tonight, 7:30 p.m. Central over in Auburn, the Tigers in the jungle taking on the Vols. Looking at the initial injury report, going to be down some guys for the Vols. JP Estrella obviously out. Jordan Gainey questionable. Igor Milicic Jr. is probable. Janai Broom, arguably the SEC player of the year, in my opinion, questionable. Questionable is usually the term thrown out when he's 50 to 75% ready to play.
Or they're going to wrap something up.
Yeah, I mean, he had a left ankle sprain.
Uh-oh.
So he may just say, Bruce Pearl may be out there putting, hey, we got a brace for you if you want to go play against the number 6 team in the country at home.
Yeah.
If I'm Janai Broom, I'm saying, oh, yeah. On the other side, Tennessee's questionable Jordan Gainey, who I believe will play. Igor Milicic will probably play. But Auburn, in my opinion, is the best team in the SEC. I think they've proven that. I think they've proven they can win without their best player in Janai Broom. Tennessee offensively has been struggling as of late. Chaz Lanier is not the same Chaz Lanier he was when he was playing against Overbrook. But I think Tennessee does show up for big games for the most part, unless you're playing in Tallahassee, Florida, where you get 30-pieced by Todd Golden. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around why that happened, but it is what it is. I think it's going to be a game. I think there's going to be a shot-for-shot blow. I think Tennessee has a good defense to hold the Auburn offense in check a little bit. But ultimately, it comes down to your playmakers. If Janai Broom is in that game, give me Auburn by 15.
Yeah.
And I think he does that single-handedly.
I'm looking at this as a 20-point game.
Really?
I told you at the beginning of the year, and this is not me hating on the Vols, but I am hating on the Vols. I just don't see this Vols team being like the over the hump team for me. They're going to be a great team throughout the year, but I mean, all that matters is coming to the tournament. And if you get to the tournament and you don't produce,
both these teams are making the turn.
Oh, 100%. But I'm just saying though, like, you want to have a good season to prepare you for the tournament. And the Vols have had that. It's just the key games like in Auburn or those top 5 games. If you can't produce in those, then why? Then why even be a good team?
A resume comparison is not there.
No.
Auburn's got key win. Like Auburn's not afraid to play anyone.
Right.
Credit to Bruce Pearl for that. Tennessee's non-conference, other than maybe Illinois, who got blown out the other day by Wisconsin, maybe? Yeah. Think so. Illinois and Louisville, who looks like a much better win now because they play in a weak ACC conference. And that's not a shot at Tennessee. It's more of a shot at the ACC because Kentucky beat Louisville too.
Yeah.
But I just think Auburn has more depth. I think Bruce Pearl has those guys playing for themselves, or not for themselves, for him.
Yeah.
Chad Baker Mazzaro is another guy I'm looking at for Auburn who's just phenomenal. So I think shot for shot, blow for blow, I'm taking the Auburn Tigers every time. I think this is just the jungle is a really tough place to play. I think they're a good team. I think they're the best team in the SEC. It's probably Auburn and Alabama, which will be a really fun game when that comes around. But it's just there's too many struggles going on for Tennessee.
No, you're right. And going back to that Jordan Gainey designation of questionable, the official designation, I think he was sick this week. So, we'll see if he can make it. But Tennessee, this team just doesn't have that enforcer that they had last year with Tobe Awaka. And that kind of, you talk about the depth. They don't have the depth. So, I could see them pulling this off, just kind of making the game ugly and, in the second half, just being a low scoring game. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee not gets blown out, but win or loses by 8 to 10 points.
No, this is going to be a double-digit loss, but I'm sorry. Hey, let me clarify something. Somebody's texting me right now about Tennessee is 4-1 against top 25 teams. If you go back and look, Baylor right now
Unranked,
and they were at the time 23.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Georgia, obviously
unranked.
There you go.
At home,
yes. Florida was
no
a loss.
Georgia was ranked the time.
At the time. They were 23.
Okay, but now you're saying they're
unranked.
Yeah, okay,
currently.
All right.
Arkansas was a win.
Unranked.
There you go. And then now you come down to Mississippi State, I believe now is unranked, if I'm not mistaken.
Are they unranked?
They might be.
Or are they low end 20s?
Might be low end 20s because they beat Ole Miss last week.
No, they were 14th coming into the game Tuesday night.
Yeah, so they were 15th when they beat Ole Miss. So that kind of there's a rank. Okay. So out of that right there, it just if you can go 500 or at least above 500 against teams that finish as a top 25 when you look back at it, I think that signifies a solid team.
Can I read this?
Please.
I'm not one to go after our texters. I love our texters. I think they're great. But Beth on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, your host with the bad attitude is the reason we hate fan bases. A guy who's accomplished nothing in the arena thinks he knows best. Sad.
Talking about me?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think we're both being pretty honest when it comes to SEC ball. And, if you disagree with our opinion, that's fine. But don't say we have a bad attitude when I don't think there's been a negative word thrown out here. I don't know.
What arena? I'm curious.
What arena? Yeah.
What arena?
What have you accomplished in the arena?
Are we talking about man in the arena? I don't know.
Man in the arena. We've done a show from Bridgestone Arena.
Yeah.
We've accomplished something in an arena.
I would say this is kind of like our arena.
This is the Thunderdome.
This is the Thunderdome.
Okay. Well, Beth, you have a nice name.
Have it. Yeah. Your name is very pretty. I really like it. Coming up next, though, speaking of arenas, Preds playing in an arena tonight. That was a terrible
It's okay.
switch, but it's okay. They're playing in Anaheim on a 5-game win streak, looking like maybe they're putting things together. If they keep this up, are they dark horses to sneak into the NHL playoffs? That's up next. 4's Company 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Man, I love this song. I love Kiss. Such a pretty song.
It is.
I wonder how many arenas they've played in.
They have like a final tour or whatever,
They've
right?
accomplished a lot in the arena. Welcome back, 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Connor Newt here with Nick Frazier and Jake Wellman spinning the tunes back. Jake, we hear you calling. The Predators looking to accomplish something in the arena in Anaheim to go to a 6-game win streak, twice as much as their highest win streak this season, which of course is 3. They're playing good hockey right now. Really good hockey. That top line is clicking. Forsberg, Stamkos, Marchessault. They're just dishing. I told you guys, my little victory lap here. Once Philip Forsberg got his first goal behind him after his little 17-game goal drought, he's going to get going. Now I think I want to say he's scored 5 in his last 6 or something like that.
Yeah, he's on a 7-game goal streak. It's ridiculous.
7-game goal streak.
Yeah.
Unreal.
At 2 last game.
Yes, he did. Against San Jose, another wild game. Preds blew 2 3-goal leads at one point, but pulled it out. Justus Onninen has been the surprise of the season for me. Of course, didn't start here in Nashville, started in Colorado. Preds flip Scott Wedgwood, who began as the backup here, to Colorado for Justus Onninen. Colorado also made a blockbuster trade last night, trading Mikko Rantanen over to the Carolina Hurricanes. But going back on that, Justus Onninen, can I say he's been playing better goaltending than UC Saros has?
As of late, yeah.
I mean, UC Saros gave up, and here in Bridgestone Arena against the San Jose Sharks, UC Saros gave up 5 goals. The Preds put in Justus Onninen, come back to win 7-5.
You know, I said this at the beginning of the season, Connor, about the Preds and their offseason additions, about the goaltending. I remember asking, I believe it was Willie in between one of the shows during the week. Is it at the beginning of the season after the Dallas game where I went to the game and I was thinking, man, Preds will win the Stanley Cup. This is going to be great. I just felt the just vibe of Stanley Cup atmosphere. And they just get absolutely shelled. And I believe Scott Wedgwood was in net that night. And I'm just thinking in my head, is it going to be a goaltending by committee? Is it going to be goaltenders by committee? Kind of like running back by committee in the NFL? Is that the way it's going to be? And then once the Preds have made their trade additions when it comes to offloading Wedgwood and then adding on, Justus Onninen.
Justus.
What a great name.
Justus.
Justus Onninen.
We got 2 juices in goal. Big Juice and Little Juice. I think Big Juice is actually Justus Onninen. So.
Yeah. And it just getting back to the goaltending situation, like Onninen has proved his worth. And it's a testament to Barry Trotz, too, when he says our scouting department has been eyeing this guy for a while. He said that about Justin Barron, too, and he's starting to catch fire as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got to give credit to Barry Trotz and that recruiting staff over with the Preds, because even though they had a very rough start and they're kind of behind the 8 ball right now, they're clicking, like you're saying. They're starting to click on all cylinders. The first line, I feel like it's like, if one guy wants to score a lot of goals, like say if it's Jonathan Marchessault and Philip Forsberg had that long goal drought, he had assists during that whole entire drought. He was having assist streaks along with all that. And now it's flipped. Now it's Jonathan Marchessault is the one having the assist and Philip Forsberg's the one scoring all the goals.
If there's one guy I don't put this season struggles on, it's Steven Stamkos.
Oh, yeah.
He has been a little bit of a slow start for him. Once he got the first one in and the monkey off his back, he has been electric, to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something about San Jose. Oh, Yaroslav Askarov, which apparently we're supposed to call him that now instead of his actual name, which is Askarov. I feel like we got a little bit of closure with him the other day.
Yes.
Gives up 6 goals. No,
5.
No, 6. 6.
Yeah.
They lose 6-5.
It'd be 5. They lost 6-5.
Or they won 6-5.
The Preds won 6-5. So he gave up 5 goals.
He gave up a lot of goals.
There you go.
Anyways, I feel like we get a little bit of closure with Yaroslav Askarov. I'm ready to say I feel better about the future of the goaltending in Nashville with Justus Onninen than I did with Yaroslav Askarov. That may be a little bit of a hot take, but I think we all knew when Yaroslav Askarov requested out of Nashville via trade. Barry Trotz was very open, saying we had a plan for him. He was going to get some time here in Nashville. He didn't want to be a part of that. They accommodate his trade request. He goes over to San Jose. Does that look great? Not been great.
Been up and down for him.
Very up and down. I think we all said he wasn't ready. The Avengers, that is. If you remember, it was Willie and D-Mace, and I never got named an Avenger, but I was with them. Robbie, Rexroad, all of them defending UC Saros versus Jared and Vingen and a couple of others. I think the Avengers won this battle.
They did.
I think they did.
They sure did.
From the standpoint of Yaroslav Askarov is not ready.
Right.
UC Saros has been up and down this year too. He did not play well against San Jose the other day, and then Eustace Onanen gets the nod in San Jose. I would venture to say UC Saros will get the start tonight in Anaheim.
Right.
But how much of, sitting out a game and a half does he take with him? Does that give him a little bit of rust? Does he say, I'm playing with an edge tonight? No goals.
Honestly, no goals. Yeah.
No goals.
Yeah, I love that.
Good commercial.
It is. No, honestly, I think for Saros, it's more of a bounce back, obviously. It's a refreshing, how do I put this? It's a refreshing thing for him to get back in net. I think when you're a player, especially in any sport, and you're going through a slump, or you're like, as for him letting in goals, it's good to finally get a fresh bit of breath air when it comes to going out west. Different scenery. I think Anaheim is a good little test for him to see if he can get back on the right track. I mean, if not, like you said, Eustace Onanen has been on fire.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if the Preds team in general keeps producing goals, as in scoring a lot with 7 goals or 6 goals, continue letting that happen, because it reminds me so much of like Edmonton Oilers style of hockey.
It is.
Where they let in a lot of goals,
high scoring,
but they score a lot of goals. So if your offense can outweigh your defense, then it's not good, but at the same time, you're still winning games.
I was never on the fire Andrew Brunette train.
Right.
I think we can get off of that now.
Oh, 100%.
Because I don't think it was his fault to begin with. I think this is more of a player thing. I think his system, like you said, he's dumbed it down a little bit. It's a little more simple. Just go out there and score some goals. And they are.
Putting a little twist to this, to like as a soccer aspect. In soccer, they use like a sweeper keeper in today's modern soccer in a 4-3-3 formation. If you go back and look at a lot of the Preds games this year, and especially I'd say last game against San Jose, Onanen was kind of playing a sweeper keeper style of hockey. Anytime the puck would go into the Preds zone, if like San Jose was trying to clear it, and it's probably a dumb observation, but he wouldn't just wait for it to go behind the net. It's like he's going after it to put the puck back in quick transition, because that's the way Andrew Brunette wants to play. Let's play fast in transition. And so I think if you're adding another equation of putting your goaltender as like a third defender, tossing like a point guard in some aspect, then you're putting yourself in a really good position to score a lot of goals.
They're just playing more comfortable.
Yeah.
There was a goal the other night against San Jose where I believe it was Marchessault goes behind the net where the place 99 made famous, slings it out to Stamkos, one-timer, slam. I was like, whoo, top cheddar.
Yeah.
I was really impressed. Preds obviously in action again tonight, looking to accomplish something in the arena against Anaheim. Let's make that a pick coming up next.
Yeah.
We'll do weekend picks coming up next. 4's Company 1025, 1063, The Game. 4's Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, looking to accomplish a lot here in the arena. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, Jake Wallman behind the glass. Let's get into our favorite segment of the day, the final segment, weekend picks.
Maybe go undefeated in the arena.
Yeah, we've accomplished a lot today in the arena. This is why we love fan bases. I feel bad we haven't talked about either of these games today, but it's a big weekend in the NFL playoffs. The AFC Championship, the NFC Championship. Who's going to the Super Bowl? We begin with the NFC Championship, the Commies and the Eagles. Nick Frazier, why don't you start us off?
I was telling you earlier in a break, I feel it. I feel Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders.
Brendan Aldridge just swerved off the lane and slammed into a tree. Hearing you say that.
No. Brandon's got a nice new car. It's
I know
nice
he
and
did.
fancy.
It's really nice.
No, I think the Commanders get this done. They get it done, man. Something about the Saquon Barkley run game. Yeah, that's what sets the tempo for Philly. But this high octane offense with Washington, look what they did to Detroit. Everybody's probably on the honeymoon phase of, man, this Commanders team, this is it. They're the it factor. I mean, I don't want to over exaggerate it, but I fell in love with this Jaden Daniels train of the Washington Commanders.
Died in his arms tonight.
Maybe.
Must have been something he said.
Should have walked away. Should have walked away.
Mm.
But I'm not walking away from this. This team's winning. And I think the final score will be 21-17.
I have to counter you.
Okay.
I'm going Eagles. I think Saquon Barkley has a big day in the trenches. Over 120 rushing.
Ooh.
Give me 2 touchdowns. But I do think this is a high-scoring game. I think this is shot for shot, blow for blow. I think Jaden Daniels finds Terry McLaurin a couple times. I think Justin Fields. Jalen Hurts finds excuse me. I hope Justin why do I keep saying that? Jalen Hurts. I think he finds AJ Brown a couple times.
Ooh.
Give me the Eagles 38-34.
Whoa.
I think this is a big game.
That'll be a really
High
good
scoring.
game. Yeah.
That'd be a really good game. I think that's what we're gonna get.
So I'm gonna break the tie here, huh?
Yeah, you are. It's up to you, Jake Wallman.
Thinking about the way these two teams played in the year makes this for a really, really interesting game tomorrow. I wonder if the Eagles have missed their window of opportunity with Jalen Hurts and winning a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I think it reopened with that running back they got.
Yeah. I gotta go with the Eagles. I think and I think it'll be a really good game, but I wonder how ready Jaden Daniels is for this level of a game.
That's what I'm thinking the lights may be a bit too bright for our friend from LSU. Turn off the lights. Anyways, off to the AFC Championship. Big game. Josh Allen, who I believe should be the MVP of the league, versus Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium. Nick Frazier, where do we stand?
I just if you can't beat them, join them. Give me the Chiefs. I'm going to keep picking the Chiefs until they prove me wrong, and it seems like the NFL doesn't want to be proved wrong. So, I'm taking the Chiefs.
This is it. This is the year the Bills are going to do it.
Really?
They're going
we go.
They're going to do it. Josh Allen is going to have a good game. I think he has 2 rushing touchdowns. I think he finds Khalil Shakir. And I think the Bills win. I think they're going to the Super Bowl for the first time in 30 years. And we can finally turn our radio dials down so we don't have to listen to Taylor Swift smack talk. I think this is it. Bills and Eagles in the Super Bowl.
You have a score?
Score? I think it's going to be a little bit low scoring. Give me Bills 24, Chiefs 17.
Okay. I'll go. Ooh. I'll go 23-20 Chiefs. I say Butker hits another field goal.
Some people are not going to like that.
No.
Sorry. My bad.
I heard something interesting that with this matchup, Kansas City knows they can beat Buffalo. Buffalo thinks they can beat Kansas City. And I hope I'm wrong. I really want to be wrong because the Chiefs are turning into that evil empire style dynasty right now where everybody's just really tired of seeing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl every year. So I want to pick Buffalo, but my heart says Kansas City. Or my brain says Kansas City. Kansas City 28, Buffalo 20.
I am fine with lone wolfing on the Bills. I'm perfectly fine with that. Do we want to do a wild card or go Preds?
Yeah, let's do a wild card in Preds if we can. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do both. Preds at Ducks tonight, not Oregon Ducks, Anaheim Ducks.
Save the Ducks.
The Ducks of Lesser. Where do we go? Will the Preds accomplish something in the Anaheim arena? Nick Frazier.
Yeah, I say it's a 4-3 win for the Preds in regulation.
In Reggie.
Get a Frosty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got one yesterday, by the way, because of that. So, yeah, another free Frosty.
I'll go 5-2 Preds. I
Okay.
think Philip Forsberg with 2 goals is a nice bet. I would like Steven Stamkos to get on the board tonight, too. I think the Preds win pretty handedly against a bad Anaheim team. Not that the Preds are a good team, but they're playing the right kind of hockey right now.
Yeah.
I think they get it done.
I'm going to say 3-1 Preds. I think Forsberg gets a goal, and we'll have a goal from Marchessault as well.
Oh, first line really getting it done, huh?
Yeah.
Everyone
They're hot right now.
Everyone picked a first line winger to score.
How about this? Stamkos. I didn't pick a goal scorer. I'm going to go Stamkos.
I said Stamkos too.
Oh, did you?
There we go.
I said Forsberg. My bad.
I did too.
Oh,
I-
everybody.
scores. Wild card pick, real quick. Nick Frazier, what do we got?
I'm going to go to the rugby, and I'm going to take Australia's women's team to win their Australian, I guess it's in Perth. So rugby sevens in Perth. So that's what I'm
Okay.
taking.
Okay. I don't know what that is, but
Rugby sevens, 7 on 7.
7 on 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I'm not going to pick Kentucky Vanderbilt because that's too easy. Kansas and Houston play basketball today. I believe in Kansas. I think Kelvin Sampson goes in and gets business done and takes down the Jayhawks.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
It's going to happen. Jake Wallman, real quick, wrap us up.
I can't pick Tennessee at Auburn because I know what my heart's going to tell me. So give me the Blue Raiders down in Ruston today. They're Blue Raiders are hot right now. 14-5, 3-point underdog, but I think the Blue Raiders get it done on the road.
A little bit of Blue Raiders
Yeah.
love shown on for a couple of former Blue Raiders on this show. But that's all the time we have here on 4's Company. Hopefully we accomplished enough for you today. Stay tuned. Big day. Vanderbilt, Kentucky later on today. And then, of course, tonight, pregame beginning at 7 for Preds and Anaheim Ducks. That is all coming up next here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
See ya.